What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to Sportskeeda MMA News. Chael Sonnen slams Jon Jones yet again. Phil Hawes apologizes to Daniel Cormier for heated exchange at UFC Fight Night. Glory terminates Russian athletes' contracts. Dana White reveals Joe Rogan enjoyed watching UFC Fight Night from the audience for the first time in 20 years. Anthony Smith shocked at his underdog status. We'll cover all of this and more on today's edition of Sportskeeda MMA News. Would you look at that? Chael Sonnen and Jon Jones aren't being nice to each other. Shocker. Sonnen took to his YouTube channel to discuss the pending heavyweight debut of former rival and infamous GOAT Jon Jones. With many fans eager to see him fight at the 205 mark, Sonnen has his thoughts on why.
Hey John, what are you weighing? What are you weighing? Because this whole heavyweight thing, the whole heavyweight thing was only contingent on us, the audience, believing with some kind of reasonable hope that you're finally going to get kicked. That's it. We don't need to see you at heavyweight. We don't need to see your fat out there. We want to see you get beat. That's it.
While Jon Jones has been just about perfect in his career, it's very obvious that he's been a lot more hittable as of late. In his most recent fight against Dominic Reyes, many fans and fighters thought that Bones was finally on the losing end of an MMA fight. He walked away with his belt still, but barely. Now he's moving to heavyweight, also known as the hardest hitting division of the UFC, also known as where Stipe and Ngannou compete. There's some real interest to see how Jones would handle such fighters. Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think of Jones as a heavyweight. With all that there was to talk about the latest UFC event held in Austin, Texas, we have to talk about Phil Hawes almost bringing DC out of retirement. After beating Deron Winn in as dominant a fashion as possible, Hawes might have let the adrenaline take over for a bit too long as he almost bit off more than he could chew. When Cormier entered the octagon to interview the winning fighter, he started jawing at the former two-division champion. Cormier, known as one of the most light-hearted personalities on the UFC payroll, didn't take kindly to this. Hawes admitted that it was all in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, it was just a misunderstanding on my behalf, because DC is such a role model to me, you know what I mean? Two-weight world champion, just a freaking stellar dude. So there's a little miscommunication and wrong place, wrong time. I apologize, DC. Don't beat me up.
This was partly because Deron Winn is a member of the American Kickboxing Academy, a gym where Daniel Cormier is a staple, to say the least. Regardless, this should not mar what was a career-best performance for Hawes as he moves up the middleweight ranks. How do you think DC handled this situation? Glory Kickboxing is one of the most elite organizations in terms of striking talent. They're eclectic in their roster and put on great shows for the just stand them up fans that fell in love with kickboxing. However, they're taking a bold stand regarding the rather heavy political climate we're living in pertaining to Ukraine. The promotion's executive chairman, Scott Rudman, thanked the Russian athletes for their cooperation, but many feel that a stand needs to be made. Scott delved into this, saying, "We'd like to deeply thank our Russian athletes for their cooperation during this challenging time and for their historic performances in our league. We value them as athletes, competitors, and friends, and this regrettable situation is not their fault. It's not our fault either. We respect their careers and commitment to the sport, and we've gone to enormous lengths to try to make various bouts happen for them, but the real-world challenges are insurmountable in today's environment." Henry Cejudo, the guy that isn't shy to brag about his accolades, chimed in and gave his piece. "We really need to separate sports and politics. Whatever happens to peace through sports, bridging the gap. This is straight up discrimination. # free Russian athletes." Do you think that this is fair? Let us know in the comments. So there's Joe Rogan the commentator, Joe Rogan the comedian, and now Joe Rogan the man in the audience. The UFC just took a trip back to Texas, the home of Joe Rogan. He was seen in the audience in a seat a little further away from his usual one. How did he like it? He loved it. Being able to watch the sport that he loves purely as a fan must have felt really nice for Rogan, who's always on the move with one job or another. How often does Rogan get to do this? Take a look. First time in the audience at a UFC in 20 years. # UFC Austin. Rogan reminisced on his earlier days working for the UFC back when the promotion was about as secure as a coin toss. When I first started working for the UFC, I was on the news radio, the sitcom. I was flying in those puddle jumper planes. People were acting as if I was doing. They asked why you're doing that, and I was like, I love it. There was a thing where I was wondering if this is damaging my career. But I was like, I don't care. I love doing it. I got to the point where it was costing me too much money. I would make more money doing a stand-up during the weekend than doing the UFC, so I quit around 97, 98. What are your opinions on Joe Rogan? Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you're liking the content. Anthony Smith and Underdog say it ain't so. Kidding, it's the norm, but so is Lionheart proving people wrong. The Nebraskan will take on Magomed Ankalaev in his next bout, and as of now, he's a plus 350 underdog for the fight. Ankalaev has been nothing short of impressive, but that statement could also be made for Smith for his past few performances. All of this while also working at the desk for the UFC. He's shocked to see that he's this big of an underdog against Ankalaev, who's relatively green. When speaking with the Schmo, Smith talked a bit more on the betting odds. He said,
Plus 350, that's crazy.
Oh.
That's criminal. If I was fighting Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou at the same time, I shouldn't be a plus 350. That's crazy.
This is a fight that very well could determine the next title contender for the light heavyweight division, which recently saw Yuri Prohaska dethrone Glover Teixeira in a fight that won't soon be forgotten. How do you think Smith will fare against Ankalaev? That about does it for Sportskeeda MMA news. Here are some comments from previous videos. McGregor must be laid to rest, because now he'll only be a shadow of the man he was. Habib, please come back. If you like this video, please like, comment, and share. Your comments could be featured in the next Sportskeeda MMA news video. We always deliver daily content, so make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything going on in the MMA world. For updates, quotes, and exclusive interviews from all your favorite fighters, follow Sportskeeda MMA on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in.